And here's the key. If you hate war, you're a lefty, you hate war, okay? So how would you like to demonetize war? Well, war is all about printing money. We always enter wars. Like they're passing a bill in Washington this week.
180 billion for
like
Ukraine
3 wars,
and Israel.
3 war zones.
Yeah, boom.
Okay, so where do they get that money? They print it. What if they couldn't print it? Oh, they couldn't go to war. Well, can you print Bitcoin? No. Okay, so that's the simple mathematics of it. If you hate war, you love Bitcoin. If you love the environment, you love Bitcoin. Now we can explain that in detail.
Yes.
Okay, to any Birkenstock wearing vegetarian. That means interest rates are going to go up now for on a multi-year basis. And so every single year, rates will go higher. Inflation will keep going higher every single year. And like in the 1970s. And people will say, it can't go any higher, can it? Can't go any higher, can it? It'll just go higher and higher and higher. And this is how the American economy collapses. It'll collapse because it's an inflationary collapse.
Max Keiser warns that the U.S. economy teeters on the edge of collapse due to one critical factor: inflation. In his latest interview, Keiser highlights 40 years of accelerating money printing and inflation as the primary drivers behind this impending collapse. The burden of debt has reached unsustainable levels, indicating that the music will eventually stop. Keiser asserts that moment is upon us, with inflation soaring while wages remain stagnant, leading to the erosion of the middle class. Despite this grim outlook, Keiser offers a solution: Bitcoin. Stay tuned until the end of the video to hear Keiser explain how Bitcoin not only addresses monetary system flaws but also diverts funds from war efforts and aids in tackling climate change. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out Daily 5-Minute Crypto Newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
And see, the thing about it is, for 40 years, you've had a bull market in the bond market, right? Starting in 1982, when interest rates, the 10-year interest rate and mortgage rates and all these interest rates were 16, 17, 18%, because under the first years of Reagan, when Paul Volcker was the Fed chairman, they had to wipe inflation now or win. And Paul Volcker, the Fed chairman before Greenspan, raised rates aggressively to choke inflation to death. Okay, now that essentially worked, and from those highs achieved in 1981, I believe was the absolute high in interest rates.
Yeah,
they've gone down all the way up until 2022. So you're talking about a 40-year period in which the cost of money, interest rates, keeps getting cheaper. And this has meant that for 40 years, politicians in Washington have been able to not have to solve problems, just rewrap them in a bond and recapitalize and just throw it into the market with a longer maturity date and a lower coupon rate, and kick the can down the road. Because there was never any moment when, although one interesting exception was under Clinton's administration. Remember when he came on board, became president in the early 90s, Hillary Clinton was really big on healthcare. And she wanted to bring in a totally revamped healthcare. And of course, Wall Street didn't like the sound of that. It was going to cut into the healthcare industry profits. So they staged a bond market collapse in 93. Bonds got hit hard in 93. And that was all managed on Wall Street to scare and to stop Hillary. It was to stop Hillary bond sell-off. And Bill Clinton famously said when he dies, he wants to come back as the bond market. It's the most powerful thing in the world, right? And then, so they won that battle. If you remember the 2008 financial crisis, they went in front of Congress to seek out $1 trillion relief package. And Congress initially said, well, you have to give us more than just a one pager. You have to tell us a little bit more about what you're going to do with this $800-900 trillion. And then so they went back in the Goldman Sachs, and those guys went back into the offices, and they had a stock market crash. You can set the dials and create markets go any way you want to. That's a topic for another show.
Wow.
But you can just make it crash very easily. And they crashed it, and then the Congress the next day caved in. They said, okay, here's your money. I mean, that's one thing about the market. Anyway, so to get back to the bond market. So for 40 years, the main point being that kind of the lefties got addicted to this idea that you could always just print more money, because for 40 years, the global market kept buying American bonds.
Right.
Now in 2022, it changed, and the global market changed principally because of the Ukraine-Russia war. And it began a period now, what you would call a protracted secular bear market in bonds, which means interest rates are going to go up now for on a multi-year basis. And so every single year, rates will go higher. Inflation will keep going higher every single year. And like in the 1970s. And people will say, it can't go any higher, can it? Can't go any higher, can it? It'll just go higher and higher and higher. And this is how the American economy collapses. It'll collapse because it's an inflationary collapse. Because prices will continue to go up, insurance continues to go up, medical costs continue to go up. And it basically, you see those videos, I think we talked about it last time, people on YouTube saying, I make X number of dollars a month and my rent is such and such and I can't live anymore. So this is a person who's got a degree or an advanced degree.
The working poor.
Right, the working poor. So that demographic will more and more will fall into the poor, the homeless poor. And there's no incentive to stop that, because you have a neo-feudal class, people who really are harken back to the days of feudalism, where it's a couple of thousand essentially monarchical folks who have hundreds of billions of dollars, and everyone else is literally hand to mouth subsistence. It won't be subsistence farming, it'll be subsistence clicking. Right? You'll be on your Provision Apple product clicking on ads to get a protein pill to survive another hour. Essentially is what we're heading into if the current trend continues, Graham. So if you extrapolate the bond market from 1981 and you put it through the diffuser machine of inflation and add a few Fed chairmen, and then you ricochet back to Hillary Clinton, you end up with a protein pill from Apple while you're having your Tesla take you to the euthanasia clinic. If you believe in let's say, global warming, for example, climate change, Bitcoin actually is a solution along those lines. It's the greenest industry in the world. It's getting greener all the time. It uses stranded energy to mine. And here's the key. If you hate war, you're a lefty, you hate war, okay? So how would you like to demonetize war? Well, war is all about printing money. We always enter wars. They're passing a bill in Washington this week.
180 billion for
like
Ukraine
3 wars,
and Israel.
3 war zones.
Yeah, boom.
Okay, so where do they get that money? They print it. What if they couldn't print it? Oh, they couldn't go to war. Well, can you print Bitcoin? No. Okay, so that's the simple mathematics of it. If you hate war, you love Bitcoin. If you love the environment, you love Bitcoin. Now we can explain that in detail.
Yes.
Okay, to any Birkenstock wearing vegetarian.
Yes.
Then when you mine Bitcoin, you're defunding fiat money, because all the fiat money, there's like $400 trillion worth of fiat money based products, financial products in the world, stocks, bonds, cash, you name it. Planet Earth is worth about $400 trillion. And that's the total addressable market of Bitcoin. So it can literally demonetize fiat money. It can demonetize gold and silver. It can demonetize the bond market. It can demonetize the property market.
It can demonetize the fossil fuel industry. It can.
Well, I mean, it'll change. It'll
Right.
change the energy industry in a big way. You see property markets are doing poorly around the world in various spots. You see a lot of problems. And I think in part is due to Bitcoin, because people are not investing as readily into property as they used to, because Bitcoin is a superior form of investment to anything. It's going to outperform every single thing out there. The exchange traded funds, the ETFs, have made now it easier for people at least to get started on Bitcoin. They have some problems with those. We can talk about it at some point, but at least it's a way to, if you call your broker and you've got, money markets and some stocks, you can say, well, put, 5,000 or 10,000 into a Bitcoin ETF, and at least you're.
Enter Max Keiser, shedding light on the undeniable concerns surrounding the U.S. economy. These concerns aren't merely speculative fears but are deeply rooted in decades of fiscal policies and practices that have brought us to this critical juncture. Keiser's insights into rampant inflation, unsustainable debt, and the dwindling middle class paint a stark picture of our current economic reality. However, amid these challenges, Keiser offers a glimmer of hope through Bitcoin. This solution not only aims to mend the fractures within our monetary system but also presents a new pathway towards a more sustainable and equitable global economy. By embracing Bitcoin, Keiser argues, we have the chance to alter the trajectory of our financial future, defunding mechanisms of war and positively contributing to the fight against climate change. This powerful message serves as a reminder that within crisis lies an opportunity to rebuild, rethink, and revolutionize the structures governing our economic well-being. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.